and place it down, and some... Why do I break stuff? Why do I always break stuff? Hey guys, I'm OddManMC, and welcome to my beginner's guide for Redstone. Now, if you guys have watched my videos before, you know that I'm mostly a builder, but I do like to dabble in Redstone a little bit, so I'm going to take you guys through a very simple tutorial on everything that I use as a very novice redstoner. The main topics I'm going to be talking about are power supplies, components, flying machines, TNT duping, simple farms, generators, and piston doors. Like I said, I am a complete novice when it comes to redstone. I don't use it all the time, but when I do, these are all of the things that I do use it for, and it's made my gameplay so much better in my own opinion. If you consider yourself an expert at redstone, please let me know in the comments down below, and let me know maybe some of your favorite redstone YouTubers that you like to check out, and that way everyone else can see maybe who they can also check out after this video. Now let's talk about power supplies. Power supplies are anything that I consider that can take a signal or an activity and output something redstone signal wise. This includes things like the redstone torch, the redstone block, the daylight sensor, the target block, a lectern, many of the different types of pressure plates, buttons, a lever, tripwire hooks, and even the trap chest. This does look like a normal chest, but it's a trap chest. And like I said, a power supply basically powers your machines or whatever you're building. It takes a redstone signal and outputs it. So you can see that this redstone torch is taking its own signal, its own power, and outputting it through this redstone repeater. The same thing happens here with a redstone block. And the same thing happens with the lever, the button, and the pressure plate. My next topic is going to be components. Now, you can take the power supplies and lump them in with components, which is just fine, but these other ones are just a little bit different. Redstone dust is used to transmit the signal from your power supply to the other components in your build. As we saw with the repeater, it can also take a redstone output, but what it does, it also increases the signal to continue on to 15. And what I mean by that is that our power supplies can only output a certain level of power through redstone dust, because this kind of just acts like electrical wiring, and it just carries it, and you can see that the redstone power is getting weaker as it gets out to here to block 16. But if we take the repeater and we put it in here, it's going to take that signal strength and then just repeat it so it continues along another set of 15 blocks. We also have the comparator, which I don't use for a whole lot of builds, so I'm not going to talk about it in this video, but there are a lot of videos out there, so I highly recommend you going and checking out those other redstone videos. And then two that I use quite often are the observer and the piston. This right here is the sticky piston, but most of the time I like to use the regular piston for a lot of simple builds. Now that I've talked about power supplies and some of the other components in redstone builds, let's talk about some simple builds that you can even do today. The first one being flying machines. Now, flying machines can come in many different shapes and sizes. You can see these are pretty much identical, except for the fact that this one uses slime blocks and this one uses honey blocks. Honey blocks and slime blocks don't stick together, so you can use them really well in builds together, but I usually just use them separately for the same purpose depending on what I have on hand. But for this build on both of these slime blocks, they work in the same way. We have an observer going into a sticky piston, which is then connected up to two slime blocks, and then right next to it we have the exact same configuration: observer, sticky piston, and slime blocks. And what happens is the observer takes an update from a block. This could be breaking a block in front of it, it could be a push of a button, a lever switch, or a note block activating, and what it does is it just pushes that flying machine in whatever direction it is. So you see, I break this obsidian block and it's going to go this way. Obsidian is what you're going to want to use to stop your builds from moving. So you can rig these up in different ways to activate for this. So if I take the same flying machine that we were just looking at and I rig it up to a note block, again, I have to put my obsidian behind it in order to stop the flying machine. I can hit a button to activate it, or I can click the note block itself. It's going to send that flying machine off in that direction. It works going back and forth. Same thing will happen if I do it going vertical. So you could easily turn this into some sort of elevator flying machine for whatever you need in your builds. I just wanted to say really quick in the middle of the video, if you guys are enjoying this in any way, shape, or form, please hit that like button and hit that subscribe button. It does help the channel out and it does mean so much to me. But enough of me talking, on with the video. Alright, now let's talk about TNT duping. This is not something that I do all of the time, but it has its place and it's definitely a useful tool to have in your redstone tool belt. There are different ways that you can set up this TNT duper, but it's a fairly small and compact build, so I'm going to show you how to build it right now. What you're going to need are building blocks of your choice. I'm just going to use iron blocks because I clearly have a bunch of them on hand in creative mode, a lever, sticky piston, a minecart, oak fence, some slime blocks, a piece of TNT that we're going to duplicate, the dead brain coral fan block, and a detector rail. This one is very important. I always miss out on it whenever I make this build, so I wanted to make sure you know it's a detector rail. I'm just going to build up off of the ground by 5 blocks really quick before we start placing our first set of slime blocks in this L formation, and then I can get rid of these temporary blocks. Next, what you're going to want to do is take your fence and put it right there on this top part of the L with the TNT block underneath it and the coral right next to it, and then you can come on over to this side of the fence and do another L shape. Next, you're going to grab your building blocks. We're going to put a temporary block right here with a block right next to it, and we're going to break this temporary block, put our sticky piston facing the slime block here, and then putting our lever, and then you're done. You're not quite done. You're definitely going to need to remember this. The detector rail with the minecart on top. Again, super important because it sends that redstone signal down through here and it allows it to be duplicated, and it has to be with this coral. I don't know exactly how it works. It's a game mechanic that they talked about taking out, but they ended up leaving it in. So make sure you have that detector rail and the minecart. Then you can come on over to your lever and just flick it really quick a few times, and boom. And I didn't think this through. It's gonna, please don't break a lot of my stuff. It broke the whole thing. See, I told you I'm not an expert at redstone. I don't get why they give me these tools. I just break it. So don't be like me and just flick it very fast. Just flick it once, maybe twice, and see if it works. For some reason it's not working right now for me, but that's okay. I don't know what's going on. Now let's just talk about some simple farms that you can do with redstone as well. These are 3 farms that I use pretty regularly in all of my Let's Plays and playthroughs, so you know, I highly recommend them, and they're really, really simple to build. Now this first one can be used with 4 different types of crops. We have our wheat seeds, beetroot, potatoes, and carrots, and all you have to do is come on up to this farmland and place it down, and some Why do I break stuff? Why do I always break stuff? So this one is a very nice because it works with 3 different types of crops that we have. We have our wheat, potatoes, and carrots. And the way that it works is that it takes a redstone input from the block below it updating, which would be our crops, and then it sends a signal to this dispenser back here with our bone meal. So you're gonna need a lot of bone meal, but there's different ways we can do that. If you want a video on that, please let me know in the comments down below. To build this, all you really need are some building blocks. I'm just gonna use polished andesite, a dispenser to fill up with bone meal, the observer, redstone dust. You can use dirt and then just till it. I'm just gonna use farmland since I'm in creative, and then a water bucket. What you'll want to do is make a triangle shape with your building blocks and then put your dirt or farmland right here. It's going to turn into dirt anyway. We're going to put some water here. I'll put a temporary block right here with a dispenser facing towards the dirt. We'll put a temporary block going right here, and then we need to take our observer facing down so that the redstone signal will be picked up by the face. If you're looking for the arrow will point up. Then we can take our temporary blocks and build them up so they are flush with the top of the observer, and then we can take our redstone dust, place it on top of the observer, and then going down like so. I think you can put it just on top of the dispenser right there, but I put it on the sides just to be sure because I never really know with redstone. And then till the land and you're ready to go. Then if you've watched my Let's Plays of any way, shape, or form, I build this farm, I think, on every single server that I've ever played on, which is my favorite redstone build, which is just my sugarcane farm. So this one is pretty simple. We have some water underneath these building blocks right here with sand in front of it, with the sugarcane on top. And then on top of these building blocks, we just put our pistons that then knock the sugarcane off when the observer up top detects the sugarcane growing up like so. So it just knocks it off, and then the redstone is taken out and plugged into the blocks. Fairly simple. You can make this as big or as small as you want, and it kind of just runs in the background. I love it. And you can also hook it up to a water stream or a hopper system to collect it into a chest to make it a lot easier. If you would like to see how this is built, I highly recommend going back and watching either my episodes of Scoutcraft or back when I was on the MC Pueblo server. I built this farm on both of those playthroughs. And then the final simple farm is my melon and pumpkin farm. I just have a row of hoppers going into this chest. You can see that it's kind of been working as I've been either AFK working on other things or showing you guys stuff for this video. With a piston right here facing this dirt block, I put a pumpkin and a melon on some farmland, and you can see right underneath there's some water underneath these two observers. I take a redstone output into a repeater, which then sends it into this piston and then knocks the melons and the pumpkins into here. Actually, I think they're both melons, but it does work with pumpkins, I promise. Next, let's talk about some generators. Now, I don't mean actually like power generators, I mean a cobblestone and a basalt generator. Although a redstone generator would actually be pretty cool. I wonder if there's a mod for that. Alright, I will not be showing you how to make the cobblestone generator. This has been around for a very long time, and if you're on TikTok or YouTube Shorts, there are plenty of videos to show you how to make it. But what I really love is that the fact that you can make these automated by just the flick of a switch. So I turn this on and I turn the redstone noise off so you guys don't have to be bothered by it, but the observer here is picking up that signal and pushing it through. So when this lava flows and it meets the water, it produces cobblestone, and then this gets pushed all the way down here until it's over this redstone torch, which then cuts off the power here, reignites it, and then allows these pistons to push them. And this will push a total of 12 blocks going here. I've seen people use this with mini games and just to collect stone without having to actually go mining. A fairly simple farm to make, but you know, do you really need that much cobblestone? Yes, the answer is yes, we always need cobblestone. And even though this one is not actually like redstone related, you can actually hook it up just like the cobblestone generator, but when the lava flows and it meets over the soul soil and it's next to a thing of blue ice, I messed up so many times thinking it had to be packed ice. It has to be blue ice. You can automate it to push the basalt out, and it makes it super easy to harvest. So that way you can actually get this fairly easy without having to go into the nether, except for the soul soil. So yeah, you can automate it just like this, but you don't have to. And then finally we have piston doors. I'm not sure about everybody else, but piston doors were actually my reason for wanting to get into redstone in any way, shape, or form, because it's pretty cool when you can just have a secret door sitting there and nobody knows, and you can just go through it and actually find your real base or any valuables you want to hide. For this showcase, I am not going to be showing you any secret valuables because this is just a creative world, but this is a 1x2 piston door, and it's pretty simple because all you need are building blocks, a lever, and 2 sticky pistons. But if you flick this lever and you go on through, and hey, who put that there? Like I said, you just flick the lever and then it pulls the blocks aside and you can walk on through, and it's fairly simple to set up. You don't need any actual like redstone dust or anything. It's just this lever right here is activating this block and it activates this piston, which I think by quasi connectivity it's connecting to this one as well, which is actually pretty cool. So you only need, you know, those 3 things. You can kind of see how it works. I don't really need to show you how to build it. If you want me to show you how to build it, please let me know and I'll make a quick YouTube short on it. Here is another version of this door, but you do need redstone dust for it, but it's a 2x2 piston door. This is one of the first ones I ever made, but the only thing I don't like about this version is that it does have exposed redstone right here, which I'm sure there's a way you can get around that, but all you do is you hook it up to go on top of this formation of blocks. If you want to pause to take a look at it, go ahead. But then you have two sets of pistons. You have them right here, and then you have the redstone dust kind of leading up to it. And I probably went a little overboard. Like I said, I'm not a redstone expert by any means, but you just flick the lever and it closes, going flush with this part of the door, and then you open it to go through. And here is the final piston door, which is pretty much the brother of that one. It's a 2x2 piston door that's actually pretty seamless. You can hide this within a wall, within bookshelves and all of that, and all the redstone is pretty much underground. So let me show you that really quick. So if we look underneath this, we have two sticky pistons on either side facing in with our blocks of choice in the middle. On the other side of them, we have a block with a piece of redstone dust, which you can see is actually powered, and it's actually powered by a redstone torch underneath. And what we have is this set of redstone dust that is snaking into them, which then if we cover this on up and we put pressure plates underneath, it's going to open it up because it powers this, which then turns off the redstone torch, turns off this dust, which then allows these to become depowered and be pulled back. So it's pretty simple to make, does not need a lot. I'm not going to show you how to make it. If you want to, you can see who I found it from, named Farzy. I'm going to link him down in the description below. He's the one who showed me how to make this, and I've used it so many times. So thank you to Farzy for showing me this door. But alright, that is my beginner's guide to redstone. You don't need a lot to get started, and if you want to go even farther with redstone, you can, but as a novice myself, this is all that I use, and hopefully you learned something. Alright guys, that's all the time I have for today. If you like the video, again, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button if you want to see more. It really does help the channel, and it gives me that warm, fuzzy feeling inside, and I'm hoping you guys have a great rest of your day. The links to all of my socials are in the description down below, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Always remember, the most important thing is to be odd and wash your hands. Peace, guys.